A doctor in Mobile who's serving 2 decades in prison for writing illegal prescriptions for painkillers could get a chance at a new trial. The Supreme Court has agreed to up the appeal, I should say. Investigative reporter Brendan Kirby has been following this. He joins us now live. Brendan, it's rare for this type of case to make it to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, extremely rare, Lenise. The High Court every year gets thousands of requests, but it only takes a tiny fraction of those cases. A federal jury in Mobile convicted Dr. Shulu Wan in 2017, and a judge sentenced him to 21 years in prison. The Atlanta-based 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals upheld the conviction last year. For the vast majority of criminal convictions, that's the end of the road. But the U.S. Supreme Court recently agreed to hear the appeal, along with a case from Wyoming with similar issues.
It is quite a rarity for any case, to get accepted for review by the Supreme Court. You think about that, well, I'm going to take my case to the Supreme Court. Well, it just doesn't work that way. I mean, it's just a well less than 1% of the cases are ever heard by the United States Supreme Court. That's
attorney Dennis Nisley, who represented Dr. Wan during the trial. He says it's the first case he's ever tried that's made it to the Supreme Court. The justices will examine two issues. The first is whether prosecutors must prove both that a doctor has written prescriptions outside of the normal course of practice and that the prescriptions were not medically necessary. The 11th Circuit has held that prosecutors must prove one or the other, but other appeals courts have said they must prove both elements. The other issue is whether doctors can raise a good faith defense that they believed the prescriptions they wrote were medically necessary.
If the decision is that the good faith exception is going to be broadened, that will certainly provide more of a defense mechanism, but I think the initial one, whether it's outside the normal course of medical practice and in the conjunctive, not for the medical necessity, would certainly change the prosecution of these cases dramatically and make it more difficult.
The federal government urged the court not to take this case. A government filing says, quote, "The Court of Appeals correctly rejected that contention, and its decision neither contravenes any precedent of this court nor meaningfully conflicts with any decision of another court of appeals." A group of health law and policy professors weighed in on the side of Dr. Wan, urging the court to take the case. Kelly Deneen, a Creighton University law professor representing the group, tells me that prosecutors have criminalized what amounts to mistakes by doctors.
Our opinion is that you ought to be able to have to prove more than you would have to simply get a malpractice verdict in order to convict somebody criminally.
The outcome of this case could affect a current case pending involving the conviction of a Mobile doctor named Shishi Maltbia, who faces sentencing next week. Arguments in the Supreme Court case are set for next year, and a ruling is expected sometime this summer. Reporting live, Brendan Kirby, Fox 10 News.